Hey guys, Tori here. Today I want to talk to you about allergies. I know firsthand how frustrating it can be to develop an allergy to something and then try to figure out a way to deal with it. What do you do? Who do you turn to? Where do you look? What information do you take as valid? What information do you throw out? It can be really frustrating, right? So years and years ago, I got faced with a challenging situation. I developed a health condition that I had no idea what it was. I had no idea who to talk to. The typical people like my doctor had no clue. She really had no clue. And to her credit, she was doing the best she could with the tools that she had. But in the end, the buck stopped with me. It's my health, it's my body, and I determined to figure it out by myself. So this is what happened. I love to bike ride, and I was out for a bike ride one summer, came back, and obviously my heart rate was up quite high, and it was a beautiful sunny day. I figured, okay, this is awesome. I'm gonna go sit on the deck, relax a little bit, have a margarita. Of course, like what else to do on a sunny day in summer? It's just have a margarita, of course. And so as I'm sitting there, I expected my heart rate to start coming down, right? Because that's what it should do. That's what it had always done in the past. No reason to think it would do anything different this time, but it didn't. And so I started to get a little concerned because I didn't know what was going on. And so I thought, okay, just let it sit for a little while, see if anything changes. I came inside, laid down for a while, thought that might change things, but it started to get a bit alarming. So in the end, I made the decision to go to the hospital and sat in emergency for a while. Of course, by the time that all happened, my symptoms had changed. There was nothing there for the doctors to even be concerned about. Of course, they did all the testing that they could, and everything came back normal. And so they sent me away. Didn't know what it was. Still, I went home, still didn't have any idea what it could be. So I thought maybe it's just a one-off. No reason to be concerned or alarmed. And I went about my life again until it happened again. So then I decided, okay, this is not normal. This is strange. What's really going on? But where do you even look? Where do you even start? We're complex creatures, and it could be any sorts of things. It's literally like finding a needle in a haystack. So as the journey progressed, I started researching and looking into different things that could cause your heart rate to elevate. Some scary stuff, I might add, and it can get really concerning. Anywhere from just a regular reaction to something to a virus in your heart. So not a very cool thing. So what I started to do was to start to monitor my food, all the things that I would ingest during the day. And I got it down so that my diet was so minimalistic. I would eat fruits, vegetables, because I was certain there was nothing that caused any adverse reactions there. And then I would start adding little things. It was virtually impossible to eat at a restaurant because I was scared to eat anything because I might have this reaction. And as the course of the year went by and longer, my symptoms started to change. So it wasn't just a racing heart anymore. In fact, it shifted gradually to the point where my heart didn't race. In fact, it would do exactly the opposite. And I would crash. I would just crash. I'd be so tired when I had a reaction that I would sleep for 24 hours. Like, no word of a lie. I would just be gone. So that was obviously a bit of a problem. It got so bad at one point that my doctor told me that, next time you have a reaction, call 911. I'm like, what? I'm not dying. I don't think I'm dying. I hope I'm not dying. But this is her recommendation. Call 911 because then you go into the hospital in an ambulance and you take priority. you trump everybody in the waiting room sitting there for hours. And it seemed like a really awful way to get to the head of the line. So I was prepared to do that, but fortunately, I didn't have to, because I decided, okay, look, I need to take charge of this. I need to figure this out myself, which I did. And it literally was by the grace of God that I figured it out. And it came down to one preservative that was causing issues in my body, wreaking havoc in my body. And once I nailed it down to potassium sorbate, then I could go to other foods, anything that I could possibly ingest, and remove it or stay away from it. And ironically, it is in a lot of stuff out there. It is generally considered a safe preservative. It's in so many natural things, organic things. It's crazy. So it's a little bit difficult to stay away from unless you're really aware of it. So I would go to a restaurant and ask for their list of ingredients, and bless their souls, they were pretty awesome with getting them to me if they could. And I just learned to know what kind of foods had potassium sorbate in them. Yogurt, for instance, ice cream, sometimes syrups at coffee shops. I learned that the hard way by drinking my favorite London Fogs, and they'd put the syrup in there, and it turns out, yeah, has potassium sorbate. But I started to get so in touch with my body that I would know, I could feel it coming on. Oh, great. I had something with potassium sorbate in it. And I tried to detox. I tried to eliminate as much of the remnants in my body as I could. I tried to make myself less reactive to that particular substance, but I couldn't do it. No matter what I did, I became less reactive to it. So my body became a little bit more tolerant to potassium sorbate. But in the end, I just have learned to stay away from it completely, and problem solved. I mean, the medical world probably would have had me do all sorts of tests and possibly put me on some kind of pharmaceuticals. And that's the way they deal with things, unfortunately. But that's one way to solve your allergy problems, is just trial and error. So that's how I figured out my allergy problem. You know, there are so many allergies out there that people deal with these days. It's mind-boggling how many there are. And it can be so frustrating trying to figure out what it is specifically and eliminate it from your diet or deal with it. Often, a lot of you will be surprised to hear this, but often an allergy has a psychological root. Yeah, surprising, hey? I was surprised when I learned that, but my daughter is a living example of that. Once we dealt with the root of the problem, her allergies disappeared. Crazy, hey? Have a great day, everybody.